Good morning and welcome to Weekend Join the Dots. Find the truth. That's the key every time. Find that truth, otherwise you're joining the wrong dots. So what do we see? I said yesterday, can gold, silver and XRP help you to survive the 5 levels of chaos? I'm going to talk about the bond market today. And this could be a week's worth of talks. It really could. It is that serious. Many people, and you're deceived by the news, by the media, by the attention, by the noise, by the shouting, think the equity market is the most important market in the world. It is not. The bond market is bigger and it determines more end results. The bond market is what you need to watch. That's why they get you watching the equity market, okay? And obviously the crypto market has been added to that recently. And again, we've seen a fantastic week for XRP, but we will see some profit taking on Friday. I don't have any doubt about that. Or we saw some profit taking on Friday because this is going out for Saturday. I've already seen it. And it's going to be expected. So don't panic. Don't let them panic you. We are on a marathon. We are not on a sprint. Okay? Some people sprint, some people trade. That's fine. Leave them to it. Not my market. My market is people who want to be safe at the end of this madness that we're about to go through. We've been living through it for the last 5-6 years. We're going through the end of it. In other words, we're going through the worst of it in the next probably 6 months, year, 18 months, could last longer. Anyway, bond market. If you can take on board that premise that the bond market is far, far more important than the equity market, then you'll start to see what's happening. I look around the world and I just see chaos. And I don't mean that in a flippant way. I mean it in a serious way. Japan. Okay, I have an excellent video for you to have a look at. Excellent video. And it's from Tony of China Market Update. This is he had China Update and then he moved on to Market Update to cover more of the world and how it's affected by China. Because China is the key to an awful lot of this. I keep telling you. It's the second largest economy in the world and it's imploded. It's finished for now. And we haven't seen the effects yet and everyone's hiding it. It's coming. Even in the bond markets, the Japanese bond market is really, really struggling. And the Japanese bond market is a joke, really. I mean, it's been there for 40, I've seen it since 1990. I remember a lot of my Swiss colleagues at Credit Suisse buying equities at 300 times earnings, and it's just ridiculous. But no more ridiculous than 1999, and no more ridiculous than now. Because we're seeing the same phenomenon, aren't we? It was tech in 99, it's AI in 2020 or 2020 to 2025. It's AI, okay? Bond markets though, let's go back to bond markets. I will get distracted, I'm sorry. I'll put a link down below for Market Update. Please watch the whole episode from Tony. It's a serious episode on the Japanese bond market and the consequences. Then I moved on to the US bond market because clearly the US is the biggest bond market. What do I find? I find Rick Rule talking about how the US bonds are the most lousy investments on the planet. And he's right. Because we have inflation and we have crises, and they're paying us what? To give the money to the government, who are then spending X trillion more than they're getting in. So it's just going to go up and up and up. Supply is just going to keep on increasing. So where's the value? Where's the value in that bond? At 4%, 4.5%. Does it matter? It doesn't matter whether it's 4.5%, it doesn't matter whether it's a half. None of them have any value in this world, in what we're going through now. So I will link in the Rick Rule talk on this, and please watch it. Rick Rule is a very sound commentator on the precious metals markets, but obviously every market influences precious metals, bonds, every market. You have to realise we live in a totally interconnected world, and we have to cope with the effects of things which we see, but we don't realise what the implications are. There's a link in there, another link I'm going to send you. So there's a lot of links coming today, but it's the weekend, so please do some work, do some research, do some listening. I can't give all this information to you in 10, 20 minutes. I can't do it. You have to do some work. Remember, you work 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year to get your salary. How much time are you prepared to work to protect your income, protect your money, protect your investments, protect your family? How much time are you prepared to spend? 10 minutes while watching the telly, taking a call from a broker? No, not this world. Not if you want to survive. Okay, not if you want to survive. So let's look at George Gannon. George Gannon, I will send you a link to his. Now he brings in the date, and I'm going to see this date again and again and again and again. And I told you you'll see this date again, again and again and again. 2008. Okay? This is the largest pause in history since 2008. Okay? What's that telling us? Have a look at George's link. It's brilliant. And do you know what he does at 5 minutes 48? Who does he introduce? Jeff Snider. Who is Jeff Snider? Eurodollar University. How does he describe Jeff Snider? The most knowledgeable person on the plumbing of the financial markets. And he is, and that's why I brought him to you. Eurodollar University, Jeff Snider. He understands the plumbing. And if you don't understand the plumbing, you won't understand what's going to happen. Okay? So we have now got a crisis in Japanese bonds. We've got a crisis in US bonds. We've got the Fed totally caught between dropping rates, which obviously Trump is screaming for, and Vance, but they've got inflation. So we are heading for that massive battle between those who want cheaper rates and those who see reality in every market. Japan will have inflation. Okay, US will have inflation. Australia has inflation, but it has massive job cuts. So they've had to put a pause on the rate cuts because of inflation, but they've got huge, unprecedented job cuts, the highest unemployment in 4 years. Oh, look at England. Well, we've got the same. So the UK has got exactly the same. The central bank had to pause rates because of the risk of inflation, but they've got the highest number of the sharpest rise in unemployment for many years. It's the worst since 2008. Oh, here we go. Are you getting it? Are you seeing the theme? The bond market tells you much more than the equity market. Much, much, much more. And that's why they don't show it to you. You don't see it on the 9 o'clock news. You don't see it anywhere. You might see it on page 43 of the Financial Times. You might. That's it. You are not going to be told what's happening in this world until it's happened. So either like Ben Bernanke, do you remember on subprime where he sat there and said, oh, subprime will be no more than a $50 billion problem. 3.4 trillion later. 68 times what he said would be the maximum problem. Did he deceive you, or was he just stupid? Well, he's not stupid. Sweden. Oh, goodness me. Rate cuts. But no, they've had to pause them. They've got inflation. Oh, goodness me. There's a pattern. Everywhere around the world, we have more unemployment. We have rate cut pauses because of inflation. But we have failing economies. That is just the perfect trifecta for an economic implosion. And what are the American banks doing in America because they see this coming? They're not stupid. Well, they are, but not totally stupid. What are they doing? They are stocking up on bonds because they can use those bonds as collateral in the plumbing of a financial system. They have got the highest level of bonds since, you guessed it, 2008. It's going to keep coming. You're going to keep seeing that date in my presentations, because in my presentations I'm telling you the truth. I'm not interested in hype. I'm not interested in deception. I'm not interested in trying to get more clicks. I'm interested in the truth and then joining the dots. So I really covered about a fifth of what I wanted to cover today. Please, though, look at those links. There's another one I'll send you, Sasha's Take on UK. Very, very good guy. And for those in the UK, that's the one you really need to concentrate on, because that's the UK market. For the US, you've got Rick Rule and you've got George Gannon. And I'll put those two links in below. And George Gannon links you to the Eurodollar University, and I'll put his link in below, because he's telling you what's happening in the bond market across the planet. The bond market drives everything. The equity market just reacts. But as you know and I know, it only reacts after most people have bought the most shares they've ever had in the world. That's the problem. So look at the bond market, please. Thank you very much.